Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Tan Claare jettud Cunamara the Lord J. Palchani, as Nimbachan ons Claare na Gael. Hello, I'm Robert Gooding Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
As in Claare na Gael, a programme that looks at some things in the English language as she Claare was Gina translated in Sachilg, and it's a programme that looks at certain things in the Manx Gaelic, Chinyanamera, the mother tongue of Alan Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht the Trish. William Gell introduced the idea of Crosby Village as being a good place for invalids with its fresh country air. But I'm not aware of Crosby having a sanatorium of any kind, and wondered why this had found its way into his 1906 poem Mannin Veg Veen. Tan skiel machon Hansel as Grethel vrigedden ons tjaglem de brerig en grim. Te jara de bilgen bach as a na benege as te der feitje eggesen bain chid benege Hansel as Gretel, ach te genna se cheer as gorte se cheer as chanel biedeloer a geddenok. To start, the missing link from last time. Get up and put on your set of clothes, that's the message, as Mairead na Weenie sings with the band from Donegal, Altan, Iris Corort, de Chujeji. Taues geestiach ris Radio Vanning, Station na Nation, Viscoller Skelia Maag by Doolish, Alan Vanning.
As we know, honey, my
Visitors to Uncruniach a year or two ago, long-running Irish band Altan, with the voice and fiddle of Mannin Veg Veen and the song Iris Cororsh de Chujedi. In the Isle of Man Times for Saturday, January the 25th, 1902, the columnist Touchstone writes about Mr. Joseph Gradwell. He writes a reply to Mr. Joseph Gradwell, whom he dubs the Crosby Champion. Now, Touchstone was the jester in Shakespeare's As You Like It, and this newspaper column is also called As You Like It, and is one of wry comment and a light satiric tone. Joseph Gradwell, it appears, took Touchstone to task for, in a previous column, mentioning that a foul open drain in Moran was a cause of ill health in the parish. Well, part of what Touchstone has to say in his reply here is that nobody denies that Crosby has a perfect climate, that if it were known, it might attract visitors, and one day blossom forth into a health sanatorium, and become another Bournemouth. In fact, the Manx Sun for Saturday, April the 12th, 1902, also reports, I was searching on Invalid to try and find anything about it, and this report for April the 12th, 1902, is headed Invalids, and it says, Crosby is the home for convalescent invalids, and this fact is beginning to be widely known. Not anywhere in the island is the air so bracing as at this charming spot. There are a few invalids at present, recuperating in the district. So, I don't know, that was 1902, 4 years before the poem was written by William Gell. Ten ven corlige den gere de bilgin de chorlesh Hansel and Grethel stiach se Gael, as de Gael dun shen. As nog beëbelig werden de redach tai, vai bal smooth Louis ons meen de geel. As me saw de beard reiru. Ach den dunje sheshek, nieuw arreltach de Gael na pechen egg on shen, de wij slugged schiesek na been fai. O, omagen mur tout en ven egge de greirish, esh na ilju en kiergin getten best by agris, signed ut gin de werloon na coffinen. As gedeg je on she erbij, der wee chordeelry. Ach, tammy de vier goil chimmel jane a pechen bachte doorten dunje. Grauwier jit lesh en de feitje kadle kunte agris, as we de glaasjen of een jaspoorok de greirish en erok. Ren Gretel Kenia de sharu, as doortie rish Hansel, te ulju jintus herish en son. Tanny Kuhn Gretel doet Hansel, as na gawim nee, nimreiche riddenach. This is a song that's been heard before in Claare and Gael, but this version of the Welsh song Gun David Ivan's Gun, is by Gwilym Bowen Rhys.
Sydach chi'n dewis cael clywed y gwir, mi dreithaf hanes a hyn cyn bo hir. A choeliwch y stori tra byddach chi byw, fod gwn Dafydd Ifan heb hoelan a sgriw. Ni da unrhyw niw a di'r Cymru'n yn o'r tad, tra bod Dafydd Ifan a iwn yn y wlad. Ei stoc oedd o didog o bren mawnog mawr, a'i liw yn byrloedd ei yn gweddi'r hen gawr. Fe gollodd y sgriw a'r hoelion meranw, wrth ymladd 3 diwrnod y Matel Waterloo. Ni ddaw unrhyw niw a di'r Cymru'n yn o'r tad, tra bod Dafydd Ifan a iwn yn y wlad. Pan welai ysgwarnog neu lwynog ar lawr, bydd Dafydd yn cerdded a'i fwriad yn fawr. Mi seithith nhw'n gelain yn gywrain ar gwn, yn gwn ac yn gathod yn hynod yw hwn. Ni ddaw unrhyw niw a di'r Cymru Cymru'n yn o'r tad, tra bod Dafydd Ifan a Iwn yn wlad. Os dawr yn Ffrancod fel deithont o'r blaen, I ymladd a Lloegr na hidiwch mor draen. Bydd a unrhyw niw a di'r Cymru'n yn o'r tad, tra bod Dafydd Ifan a Iwn yn y wlad. Bydd a unrhyw niw a di'r Cymru'n yn o'r tad, tra bod Dafydd Ifan a Iwn yn y wlad.
Dafydd Ifan, a giant of a man who reportedly fought 3 days in the Battle of Waterloo and had a gun with a stock of jet-black bogwood without nail or pin. Gwilym Bowen Rhys sang about him there. As Trevor Sabine jitter na parenton, Jerry Hansel, hugge musje goed beg, doshele Doris na coolje, as maag lesh the cune. Van ees sail sheen the Gael. As ren na klachen ail bene van in lai roosje tai, lanrige gurish mieren de ergid. Chroom Hansel Schies, as ren lina pogged in de goedjegge, geledden as voor a chummelok. Esh, higher back, rish as doorte rish Grethel, gouda esh ma Mannin Veg Veen as cadel de cune, a gin G tre Gael shin. As hugge a heen the lai rish, sil javi egga. Eg brishen lai as rosh marawa green a niri, henke ben jesje as renny dusten der feitje as doorti, soesliu litjeren, tashin gol stjaag se geel de jare fooi. Esh huggy downmeer da arren as doorti, shen son genair, as han neidend ju ia roshen, non a ginu gedden beg elia. Dimmerk Gretel en arren foon vratek, no drau Pogged and Hansel leant lesh na Claare Isle. For those invalids recuperating in the healthy air of Crosby, then, what were they seeing? And evidently they're looking southward, beyond the distant hills between, where Martin sketched his heavenly scene, the paradise of Mannin Veg. This is the painter John Martin, born in 1789 in Northumbria. He was well known for huge paintings, often biblical, with vast numbers of people dwarfed by huge landscapes, and prints and etchings brought him to a wide public. His wife Susan's brother, John Garrett, lived at Harold Tower on Douglas Head. That house dates from 1833, and between 1848 and 1954, John Martin made annual extended visits there. During the last 4 years of his life, John Martin painted 3 great pictures of biblical subjects: the Last Judgment, the Great Day of his Wrath, and the Plains of Heaven. And the Plains of Heaven was completed in 1853, but John Martin fell ill and actually never recovered, dying at Harold Tower in February 1854, and he's buried in Kirkbraden Cemetery. Scottish composer and pianist Fergus McCready with the title track from his award-winning album Forest Floor, which was nominated for a Mercury Prize and was the Scottish Album of the Year.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Stasiwn na nasiwn to Radio Vanning a Seach and Bald Éisteach Rish and Claare Show, Claare na Gael, Mish Robert Gutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you heard tell of our Bobby Bob?
Ma visu giri Éisteach Rish Claare na Gael to Cair Dutjon Shen through the Nedega Radio Vanning as Ryan Craman Eish Rish as the roller de Henman na Claire and Regetten on Shen. De Cair Clash ni more podcast, yes, through the Nedega Radio Vanning, na through den Reichère the podcast ed, wel Shen Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. John Martin's painting The Plains of Heaven is 6.5 foot, 198 centimetres in height, and it's just over 306 centimetres, that's 10 feet wide. It's said that he got the inspiration for it by gazing down across the view from somewhere up by Chibanach, where the name The Plains of Heaven is applied to it. However, you can hardly look at the painting and say that it's of that particular view. You can see the original in the Tate Gallery in London, but you'll certainly find it with many of his other works online as well. And it's the view that's said to have inspired John Martin in producing that work that William Gell mentions here, the distant hills between where Martin sketched his heavenly scene, the paradise of Mannin Veg. And so, allowing for artistic licence, Gell takes up the tour again, heading eastward from Crosby village. Now pass we by the sacred fane of Kirkmarown, trim, neat and plain. Well, this is the church on the main road opposite Ballawillakillia. Eish hayadolju rumbu kujach red gus a Gael. Trefyd yng ngol perchain red, jas Hansel gyn gleisiige, as jichi back a tai. A shore en rish as rish. Der dwrt an rish, Hansel cyrritau djonu. Gau cyrael na velw jirut de lurgachen. O, yishig, dwrt Hansel, tammy jyn ma Mannin Veg Veen, tan a sai hús mullach a tai de chor sledden jam. O, sommagen dwrt a ven, chanel shen de fishin, ach saigen a grainier a chrogan chimley. Son shiger is gerau Hansel jyn a fishin egge, ach eis is nish ve an oil clach ail mach as a fogget, as liege tujem a red. Tre renkad main na Celia dinchen den a pechen de chorlesh banan de aisle de rail chead, as ren Hansel as Grethel chimsig a brasnig an de loers on slew beg, as fod sight aisle. As treb aisle lost de loer doet ven chesha, nish, chin shu lai she seg an aisle. The Breton duo of Solin Lefebvre and Gilles Bigot play lively and attractive arrangements of traditional pieces, like this one, Parez Kistinide.
Non
to which to dance an antedro. Pares Kistinid, the parish of Kistinid, which is a village in the Pays Vannetais area of Brittany. And the song Pares Kistinid was sung by Solène Lefebvre with Gilles Bigot on guitar. Jinshu Gael fé féchin as nimage gold the jara foy, as tret as an urlu, nimage shit as Corshulian. Mar and Hansel as Grethel sai she seg an aisle, as eg munlair and cach een a miren daar an vag. Vad smunnion de rau an och ons a Gael ulju an tre, no de rau e an dau, de rau ad clash an búlichan na tai. Ach, ons riechid, han ach bangan chirm ve croche bilje fjochid, as a rie glaciage huggers vai. Me saw trebad hannachten on rish trail jouwer, renne verroegen och doene les denes, as hank se vienoru, drawed karle de troom. Trefe jere renne duste, she an nivon, as gauw Grethel toiach der Kenia, as doorti, Krenacht arach nimbach kaas na maag as a Gael shaw. Ach, ren Hansel gurgechi, as doorti, foriach tamelt beg na soja, der wisse neest giri, as eish nimbach de heishach feather na red in de valia. The act to authorise the building of this, well, as it was, new church in Kirkmaround in place of St Runius's church on the hill south of Crosby, that act to authorise the new church was passed on in February 1847. In November and December of 1846, the newly nominated Bishop of Soda and Man, Walter Augustus Shirley, had visited the island, and he returned to the island on his consecration in January 1847. However, he was quite shortly afterwards taken seriously ill with pneumonia, and in fact he died at only 49 years of age in April of 1847. His successor as Bishop of Soda and Man was the Honourable Robert John Eden. Now, he was an honourable because of the youngest son of William Lord Auckland, the first Lord Auckland. When William Lord Auckland died, the title went to his eldest son, George. However, then George Eden died suddenly as well in January of 1849, and Bishop Robert John Eden became the third Lord Auckland, and so he became known as Bishop Auckland. 4 months later, in May of 1849, Bishop Auckland it was who laid the foundation stone of the new church for Kirkmaround, and in fact he consecrated it just over 4 years later, in October of 1853. From the Mona's Isle project, the legacy of Mona Douglas, this is Ellen Clegg's song, Snai.
Fragile, faint and worn, tiny Jimmy,
maden, as ribbenen spanjegen tune.
Snai, a song referencing the Manx traditional song about weaving a wren a fee. It was written and sung by Ellen Clegg. There's a package of a CD of recordings of the project and a DVD of its performance at the Centenary Centre in Peel. Unfortunately, Ellen wasn't able to take part in that performance, but you can enjoy that song sung on the DVD by Chloe Woolley. This new church at Kirkmarown was designed by Ewan Christian, descended from the Christians of Milntown, architect to the Church of England, who held the presidency of the Royal Institute of British Architects from 1884 to 1886. There are only 2 lines about New Kirkmarown, and William Gell calls it trim and neat, slightly marred perhaps by plain. Well, William Gell passes it by, and down a lengthy hill again, in Valley Fair between the hills, we reach the industrial Union Mills. Well, the hill is known as the Ballahutchin. People still say the Ballahutchin, but there's no farm now called Ballahutchin. Although Glenloch itself is an old name in the area going back to the 1500s, there's notes in the records for 1773 and 1822 that Glenloch was formerly called Ballahutchin, and also in 1822 Glenloch otherwise Ballahutchin. So it seems the change was made perhaps mid to late 1700s, and the 1822 record just parrots what was in the 1773 record about formerly called Ballahutchin. As tref yn ledden eis y spare, ren Hansel Goel y hiwr weg law. As dair y bollach on van y clach yn ail, sail sien mar urgid, as ren het cawrach daw y red. Hwl ad fud na hi. As ag brisje yn lei, rink y tain yn era. Ren ad crankal y doris, as tred dosiel y ben hiesje as honiki den Hansel as Grethel born, doorti, Fetchen met tjurach sjoe, crin feren uw kadlach of forders a Gael, was in smunjen a jigshoe tai rish arach. Ach, van manra, no drawe ninu draw gamelischel, ach van och manra, no drawe ninu a chri a Gael, men nischel te me colon volt geetnis, ach van och manra no drawe ninu a chri de Gael na jistjaus a Gael na lummeken. Garawi vorder na lug shen, de rauw rish genne aglach ons na urgen shen. As ren na perchen clash na lias boirok, greir schneroks en nee, chausvis aljavi. Tad a chulju ni soel, chanel ach en liearn de willinain, as lug shen ten skiel chit gajera. Sein dun vei reirish na perchen. Cornish band The Rowan Tree, who all bar one member were here from Lluniach last year, and Richard Trethui is going to be around this year as well, taking a holiday in fact.
Manx Radio.
Tashu géisteach ris stasiwn a nasiwn radio fanning na sé Claare na Gael tan Claare Shaw, mer an pín Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Did thee ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Hai a ben Niemid goilet na ságe stiach sa chéalach hir Shaw, nach bí ebli doc fedden de red doc ar as ríis. Chanelach delje de rere a chúis. Van dunje genach den trimseach sa chriege, as monia Weg een share, de Rijn en Graham's Jerry er na feitjen. Ach gejinnach gewend jesje eestach ris weg bij de grij. Ach rennie traudje zal toene. Eschen te grij zijn de grij B nis. As tre te dunje lai grosh kush ongeet, te ersen jinno keert elje. Ach geraune peitjen den gadle, as voor de glaasjen na klen kawag. Treven a parenten in Gadla, Jiri Hansel de gol mages de gerden tulju klach en ail, maar renne rai. Ach, van wen jesje a chore dorus vo glas, as gedod Hansel kost na magas. Ach, renne gurjach a hurege as doete, na gin Kenje Grethel, as lig de savin chitort de bew, as ni G Kunelien. The Industrial Union Mills is a reference to the Flail and Fleece United, the enterprise of William Kelly, with the corn mill and the cloth mill. The original corn mill had been in use since the late 1400s, Mullion Doe, the mill of the Black Ford, with Doe in that order, literally Black Ford, as in Dovling, the Black Pool that gives its name to Dublin, but in an earlier order of words, which would have become Ling Do and Ardu in later times. William Kelly was of a family living in nearby Trolleby, and he developed the cloth mill in 1807. Unfortunately, after some successful years, there was a disastrous fire in 1828, ruining poor Mr. Kelly, but the mills were subsequently rebuilt and went back into business again. What seems to impress William Gell most about Union Mills is that it's not Douglas. Sweet neighbourhood to scape the ills imposed in corporation rates, which that crushing rent bill inflates, and settlement so oft belates. Now, William Gell was a baker with premises in Douglas, and this looks like a pet gripe of his. There's a song recorded from the north of Ireland taking the biblical story of Jesus asking for a drink at a well and going on to tell the Samaritan woman of the well her life story. And here it's sung by Irish a cappella quartet, Landless. Landless, a quartet made up of Lily Power, Maeve Mere, Ruth Clinton and Sinead Lynch, and the song The Well Below the Valley, known in manuscript but then surprisingly collected orally from John Riley from Boyle, County Roscommon in 1969. You may remember that we were debauched at Ballacrane, maybe debouched from the mouth, I suppose. Having debauched at Ballacrane anyway, William Gell turned east to Union Mills, but here the present trip must end, lest we should to disorder tend. Our course from here must backward wend. Once more together, if you will, to promulgate our coming bill, we'll meet again at Tynwald Hill. And thus ends the 7th part of Mannin Veg Veen, a poetical sketch of the Isle of Man. Canto 8 of the book, or simply the 8th instalment as it appeared in the Isle of Man Times, goes on to describe Tynwald Day, which is fast approaching as it is. Observe this mingled motley throng, trudging the country roads along, with jibe and jest and merry song. The class in phaeton, bus or car, bigwigs of council, bench and bar, with gentlefolk from near and far. The governor, council, and the keys, magnates of high and low degrees, and volunteers as brisk as bees. Coroners and parsons, smart and plain, and all agog with might and main, to celebrate the fete again. De morgen, a morgen ergain, henke ben chesje, sjarni na pechen maag asel javi. Huggy down meer beg de arran, versloe na bach rai, as red gus a Gael en Hansel broeljach jane arran sa fogadege, as de mennik renny stappel de chow broeljach a tolu. Hansel, kren fet how stappel chow chulujin as blake a roj. Tammy Jean a chalmen begem vis na haier mullach a tai de chor sleddenjam, dreger Hansel. O sommigen, door de ben jesje, gene chalmen tonach, green a vori saljen en a kroggen en chimley. Hai Hansel rosh renne rai, as renne scalia broeljach aran rische red. Renne ven li jail na pechen for de stjachse Gael, bol na rawed veon roshense veok. As riche wa eilmoer jint, as doort a lias waer, sai shu shies on shen vechen, as tre ta shu ski, for die shu goilse veen. Ta shin goldstjachse Gael de jara foy. Now here's a song that enters the spirit world with a vengeance. It starts with the sound of witch and goblin, and seems everything there is a spirit. Welsh band a bank.
Teg ar goblin ac i'w gyhyrau drwg ein nad a gadwelad yn dychryn.
Sing di wedyn yn laido, toilo yn laido.
Fe welwyd ysbryd milgi ar ail y bryn yn croesi, ac ysbryd gwas y gallu thorn ac ysbryd corn yn canu.
Sing di wedyn yn laido, toilo yn laido.
Roedd ysbryd hafain mewian, ac ysbryd ieir yn cracian, ac ysbryd môr yn siorsi wil yn chwyrnu'n gil y pentan.
Sing di wedyn yn laido, toilo yn laido.
ysbryd canfas ac ysbryd chwan a bwyad sair ac ysbryd sgwad a chwmpas.
Sing di wacti di laido, toi loi laido. Sing di wacti di laido, toi loi laido.
Abanc and the traditional Welsh song Can Rysbrydion. Abanc will be here for Anchryniach just over a month from now in July. Synjaster beg dŵr y fenwys na pechen, tre tasyn erlw dy gol dy balia, nimmers shit dy chor siwlien. Mar so tre heg munlair en Grethel Rhain en Aranek Hansel, verskelia shenega rishered. Esh fe orw cadla, as high a fast the beg sha, as her denk pecher rees on the pechen bochta. Bright is the sun, the skies are clear. With smiling faces draw they near, for Tynwald comes but once a year. In brave procession now they go to promulgate, for weal or woe, the bills which lately plagued them so. As the jarrow to Latin vel tarna geras, to mi trestel den e la grinach vison, la speren clearach, quaec de vis. And so for the time being, that's about it. Coming up at 7, there's 2 hours of the best of chill-out music to enjoy in the company of Chris Pearson. And then at 9, Judith Lay opens the late-night virtual lounge for sundown. Claare Gael is brought to an end by music composed by fiddle player Aidan O'Rourke, joined by Katrina Mackay on harp, Phil Bancroft on saxophones and Martin O'Neill on percussion. His composition, As Force, takes the name of a waterfall from Gaelic and from Scandinavian, as you find in the Manx names Renas, the division of the waterfall, and Forsdal, which has become Foxdal, the dale of the waterfall. Ach, Shananish, as Maso, until the next time, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert de Carslach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a Chriort, as Duts Meirian share.